Hello everyone and welcome to the next episode of Coteries of New York. This time we have a chance to meet again with either Agathon or D'Angelo, and I think Agathon is the one that I kind of feel inclined to meet again. Do you know the notes? You find the mystery of Agathon's research tantalizing enough to pay him a visit. I agree with that, so I'm going to do that right away. You know what to expect when you return to the small bookstore serving as Agathon's haven. The cacophony of occult imagery assaults you from the book covers displayed on the window, but under the fake facade there's something real. This time the Buddhas and the satanic Bibles of the storefront seem almost funny, or perhaps you just started to tune into the dry humor of these tremia. Is that really humor? Do you think so? Because I think it's all very much real to them. Tremere don't have a sense of humor, okay? They're the worst. Just as you're about to ring the doorbell, the door opens and Agathon storms out. You step aside just in time to avoid having him stumble into you. Why did I do that? Stumbling would be way more anime and romantic. Lafayette, what are you doing here? Look, I came to help you, like last time. Okay, fine. You're right. Follow me. As he turns to go, Agathon almost looks pleased that you're here. Aww! Agathon walks to his car with you in tow. It didn't occur to you last time, but it's a surprisingly pedestrian vehicle. An aging mid-sized family sedan. Aww. You imagine what it would look like with a baby seat in the back. Oh no! Why is this game playing with my heart so much? Opening the door on the driver's side, Agathon notices your look. Love all you want, but it's inconspicuous and practical. Of course you're the kind of a person who would drive family cars. He's the cutest. You sit in the car and Agathon starts driving in his usual careful style. At least you'll never be stopped by traffic cops. It seems Agathon is not interested in small talk. Agathon is already scoring points with me, okay? More points than hope. I like people driving safely. I love a good mystery as much as the next vampire, but at some point you have to tell me what we're doing. Let me ask you a question in return. Have you ever tasted animal blood? From sheep, for example. New York is not the best place to hunt for wildlife, you know. You'd be surprised. There are plenty of pigeons, rats, dogs, cats. But your instinct is correct. Animal blood tastes vile. If it didn't, our own lives would be very different. Anyway, something to think about. You exit Manhattan over the Brooklyn Bridge and soon reach the site of the nightclub that seems to be your destination. It's on the riverfront, a converted former warehouse. After Agathon parks the car, it's time for you to enter the nightclub. You glance at the Tremere, evaluating him. It's obvious that this is not his kind of a place. It's not your kind of a place, not exactly, but you've probably been here and just forgotten it. For a bunch of perennially penniless archetypes, your friends were always good at trolling for every gutter in search of a high. There's a good chance the research notes are here. So we're looking for research notes. Yes, and that's all you need to know. There's a line into the club. It looks like a popular night, even if, based on the crowd, this is not exactly a place for supermodels and celebrities. I guess so. Let's use our little abilities. You walk up to the man at the door and smile. Hey, you remember me, right? Mind if we go in? The bouncer looks at you, taken in by your supernatural charisma. It doesn't matter whether he really remembers you or not. Sure, go right in. Have a great night. You walk into the club, ignoring all the people standing in line. The music beats down on you, bringing with the memories of a human existence. I wonder why there is no music at all since the last... Okay, no, in the last episode there was some music, but now the music kind of like subsides. Do you guys have the same thing in your playthroughs? The first time when you went dancing with friends, when you flirted with someone on the dance floor. This time, it's different. You're a predator and everyone around you is prey, tightly packed twitching sacks of blood and tissue. You sense the emotions all around you, blood tinted with happiness, lust, rage, jealousy and love, a buffet for sensations. Focus. Keep an eye out of trouble while I look for what we came to find. You nod and follow Agathon through the throng, trying to ignore all the warmth, flesh, and circulating blood around you. Yeah, sure. Decided that the opportunity to feed has been handed to you, and it would be churlish to refuse. A young Latino man is dancing close to a beautiful, dragged-out girl. She takes his face in her hands and kisses him on the mouth. You slide close to them and sink your teeth into the man's neck. He moans from the pleasure of the kiss, and the girl assumes it's because of her. We were the third wheel, literally. You check to see that nobody is watching and lick the wound closed before disengaging and returning to look for Agathon. You find a young, intense woman pointing a finger at his face. Agathon, you traitor. Don't you dare stand between me and what's mine. She has a weird haircut. It's very high. You look at the woman in surprise. Her appearance stands in contrast with the anger in her words. You know Ailing will not let you leave with the notes. Aisling, right? Aisling? Ailing? I will call her Ailing, although I know it's wrong. Just please don't kill me for that. Perhaps she won't let you leave at all. Juno pulls close to Agathon's face and stage whispers loudly, enough for you to hear her over the music. You're still so brainwashed that you care about what Ailing fucking Sturbridge wants. I'm done jumping through her hoops. I don't know what I saw in you, Agathon. You're such a lapdog. Look, are we sure we want to talk about all this in the middle of a dance floor? Do I look like I care about the fucking masquerade? Uh-oh, bats person, get out of here. You look at Juno in genuine shock. From Sophie, you've understood that the masquerade is universal among the kindred. Is she a bat? Juno, you don't mean that. You're not suicidal? Fucking watch me. Juno, please. Juno steps back, suddenly cold. Ignoring the people dancing all around, she stares hard at Agathon. The past is past. The traditions are dead to me. You won't stop me, Agathon. I'll make sure of that here and now. You know I have the power. No, Juno, please! Agathon sounds panicked. He's not worried about his own survival, but of the possibility that Juno is going to unleash a genuine masquerade breach. Calm her down! Calling on the powers of your blood, you step closer to Juno, between her and Agathon. I'm happy I drank before that. Agathon was being an asshole. Don't hurt yourself just to get back at him. He's not worth it. Juno looks at you in the eye, and you can see that she's tired and scared. Defecting from the Tremere is not easy or safe. You're right. She turns to go, then stops and glances back at you. You should pick better friends. With that, Juno walks through the oblivious dancers towards the exit. Looking around, you realize that Agathon didn't stay to witness your exchange with Juno. Instead, he worked his way around the dancing crowd, looking for the notes using his arcane methods. After Juno is gone, he returns, shaking his head. The notes were here, but not anymore. It's possible someone grabbed them when they hunted here. After making sure Juno is nowhere to be seen, you and Agathon push your way back outside. Outside, you walk to Agathon's car and drive back over the Brooklyn Bridge to Manhattan, heading for Agathon's haven. Juno mentioned some very personal things. I trust your discretion in not discussing those things with Ailing. Your love life is your business. Thank you. After a while, you reach Agathon's haven and he parks the car. You walk to the Occult Bookstore and Agathon invites you inside. The smell of incense assaults you as before, making you grateful you don't have to breathe. You follow Agathon upstairs to find Ailing Sturbridge in an armchair reading an old book. She puts a bookmark in place as you come in. You were successful, I hope? No, I'm sorry. The notes were there at some point, but not anymore. That's a shame. I hope you don't run out of time. How did Sophie's little protégé do? Agathon turns to look at you. Well, surprisingly well. Ah, he complimented me! That's a surprise. I'll have to compliment Sophie on her choice. We met Juno. Fortunately, she couldn't find the notes either. That's interesting. The High Regent turns to look at you. What was your impression of Juno Fledgling? She was very angry. I don't know what you people did to her, but she's pissed. What we did? Careful now, fledgling. She made her own choices, bad as they were. Anyway, I have some things to discuss with Agathon. Run along now. I wonder if she's actually a member of a different Tremere branch, Tremere house, like House Karna, for example. Or Gratrix, actually. She did sound a little bit more Gratrix with the whole masquerade stuff. You leave the Occult Bookstore, the cheesy mystical music still in your ears as you walk away. I don't hear any music. Bookstore. You wonder about what happened with Juno. Why is she so anxious to leave her clan? Can she really do that? Could you leave Sophie's service if you wanted to? Rests. Ring. You arrive at the Lich Pits, finding it less rowdy than the last time. The bar is still packed, but the dance floor is empty tonight. Instead, the old crackling speakers are playing music that would probably sound like noise even on high-end hardware. Mia is nowhere to be seen, but you remember she requested that you ask for her at the bar. You approach the bar as the bartender finishes pouring a beer for an older guy in faded fraying Iron Maiden t-shirts. Good taste. She turns to you. What can I get you? Hey, is Mia around? No, she's not in tonight. She looks you up and down, and a spark of recollection shines in her eye. Oh yeah, that's right. She takes a well-worn book from behind the counter. Some kind of yay vampire novel? YA vampire novel? What? And flips through it. She produces a piece of paper from between the book's pages and passes it to you. She told me I'd be interested in reading this. You find a relatively quiet corner and take a look at the note. T wants to meet you. I'll arrange it, but you need to prove you're trustworthy. Look around the Lich Pit for a guy named Bruce, buff dude, tattoo sleeve on his right arm. I'm 90% sure he's somebody's retainer, sent here to spy on us by the cam. Get me the name of his master and write it on this card, then return it to the bar. Retainer. A human who serves a vampiric master. Kindred rarely go without at least a few of these mortals, both for convenience and protection. Yeah, watch Vain Pursuit. We do need retainers very badly. It doesn't take you long to locate this Bruce guy. He sits alone in the corner, 2 beer glasses already empty on his table. You take a moment to consider your approach. We can do that. I guess presents? We could feed, but I don't want to feed on him. Yeah. The man merely notices you but doesn't move from his spot. The other seats are empty. When you focus on the blood to boost your attractiveness, it's not just Bruce who notices. He's into you. So are other people doing double takes as they pass your table. Ah! He's hot! Hey you! Have I seen you here before? He's like Pete Steele. A bit. If he had longer hair, I guess. It's possible. I'm a regular at this point. At this joint. Who are you? That's weird. This place is kind of a dump. Ask him about the name. Directly. I know you serve a certain individual. I need that individual's name. What, Sam? He catches himself, realizes what you're doing. His eyes dart over your shoulder. You thought you had him cornered, but he suddenly leaps over the table in one smooth move and dashes through the sparse crowd. You catch up to him outside. He's bolting, alright. Celerity. Fuck, I am using a lot of my blood. Throwing caution to the wind, you focus your blood and give chase after Bruce. He might be faster than a human, but his abilities are a fraction of yours. He dashes into a nearby alley, and you follow suit. Before he can jump the fence, you tackle him to the ground. A short brawl later, you're standing a few meters apart, Bruce eyeing you with hatred. Listen, your cover is blown. I was told who you are, you better come clean. Your master's name, that's all I need. Bullshit! Besides, she'd kill me if I told you, and I quite like being alive. Here's the deal. You tell me your master's name and you save yourself a world of hurt. Unless you want to exit this alley on a stretcher, you'd better... Bruce doesn't wait for you to finish talking. He jumps at you, kicking and punching with dizzying speed. It takes you by surprise and he puts you on the defensive. Just as you're about to retaliate, he breaks away, jumps the fence at the end of the alley, and is gone into parts of the city unknown. Time to leave something for Mia. You borrow a pen from the bar and flip Mia's note to the other side. Sam, and you know it's a she. That still leaves a lot of options. You could pull a name out of your ass and let Mia figure it out. Leave Mia all the info you have. Mia asks you for a name, but if all you have is a fragment and a gender, it'll have to do. You jot down a note. Bruce referred to his master as Sam and called her she. You pass the piece of paper to the bartender. She sticks it back in the same book. Hold on 1 second. She wanted me to pass something on to you. She produces a cell phone from behind the counter. It's ancient, at least 15 years out of date. Oh, right, and this. An old charger for the piece of junk in your hand. They really did think of everything. She said she'll be in touch. It takes you a moment to remind yourself how to operate this thing, and you find that its phone book is blank. There's no Wi-Fi connectivity and no saved messages. It's got a version of Snake though. It's Nokia! The bartender is already over at the other end of their domain, taking orders from patrons. With your other contact nowhere in sight, you decide to move on for the night. Imagine having an eternity to play Snake. I would be very much into that. Hopefully your educated guesses based on the scraps of info you collected will be enough for Mia to call you. The hunger calls you. Honestly, now that I think about it, I would actually love to be a vampire who just spends the eternity in the internet cafes playing MMORPGs and feeding on other patrons of the cafes. That would be pretty cool, wouldn't it be? It's just like, stay away from politics, just play video games and feed on people who go there. The cafes are usually pretty dark, so you can easily feed. There are toilets or something, so no issue like that. If you live in, I don't know, Korea or Japan, there are plenty of internet cafes everywhere, so you can change one every night and not be caught. Perfect. That's my life as a vampire. The hunger calls to you. A face on the night streets of New York catches your eye. You can't look away. You're supposed to be doing something else, but what that was exactly doesn't matter now. Sheer beauty. A face, no, a person to die for. You follow them, get close enough to almost smell them, almost taste them. Yes, they must taste like heaven. You could ask them to share. Or you could just take their blood. They wouldn't say no, right? Why would they? You're their biggest admirer. So what if people are looking? So what if the whole world learns what you are? It's worth it. You compose yourself. Your rational mind, fearing a blatant breach of the mask, creates temporary hold over the beast and its compulsions. It won't last unless you feed. You need to quench this hunger before your passion forces you over the edge. I will do that next time I have a chance. I will go and meet Agathon. One represents to the chantry of the 5 boroughs, and to Agathon, who's starting to be surrounded by a smell of danger. Aww, my poor boy is sweaty. One of these nights you'll have to buy something. You reflect as you ring the doorbell of the Occult Bookstore that serves as Agathon's haven. Perhaps something about auras or the tarot. The same sleep-deprived blonde woman you saw on your first visit opens the door for you. Each kindred has their own servants, and Agathon seems to go for the tired Wiccan mom type. Oh, it's you. Come in. The woman disappears in the back room even as you close the door behind you. Lacking any better directions, you make your way up the stairs. At first, you thought the chanting was a part of the ritual soundtrack that plays in the shop even at night. As you reach the 2nd floor, you realize that it's Agathon's voice. You come up just in time to see him standing in the middle of his ritual paraphernalia, with his wrist cut open over a wrought iron stand holding a blood-red stone. He's making a bloodstone. As Agathon chants, blood drips from the wound in his wrist onto the stone. It looks as if it's absorbed into it. It's probably not a good idea to interrupt the blood rituals, so you wait in silence as Agathon finishes. A few minutes later, he opens his eyes and smiles ruefully. I've done so many of these rituals. I hope it's not too off-putting for you. Agathon smears a bit of his own blood over the wound, and you see it close. It looks like he does this so often, he barely pays attention to it anymore. I thought all vampires were blood fetishes. Unavoidably. We don't all advertise it though. Agathon picks up the blood red stone from its stand. This is a bloodstone. Could be useful. Bloodstones are basically trackers. It's pretty cool. Doesn't seem inclined to elaborate. Anyway, let's go. He pockets the stone and leads you back down the stairs and outside to his car. Soon you're on your way to Queens in the Flashing Meadows, Corner Park. In my one of my campaigns I've been playing, I was playing a trader who did have blood sorcery actually, and he made a bloodstone to like engrave it in the jewelry for his lover, so he could track her down. And he could always know where she is. It's kind of like you feel the magnetic pull to it. You don't know the exact location, but you could pinpoint more or less where the person or where the actual stone is. So if you give it to someone, it actually will point you the location. It's pretty interesting. After parking the car, you follow Agathon on foot as he leads you deeper into the park. Coming to a New York park in the middle of the night might have worried you when you were alive, but now it's normal. If someone tries to mug you, it just means you'll have an opportunity to feed. Agathon walks with purpose, as if he knows exactly where to go. You see the Unisphere, a giant metal sculpture of Earth, lit up so park goers can appreciate it at night. You're not sure how Agathon picks his ritual spots, but he must have a purpose in mind. The sculpture stands in the background, giving his preparations added dramatic weights. Stand watch while I perform a ritual. It will reveal whether the notes we seek are here. I lose control of the incantation if you fail to keep me free of distractions. Doesn't look like there are many people around. You settle in for a boring half hour while Agathon mumbles and makes strange gestures, spilling drops of his blood at regular intervals. From the outside, this ritual is not particularly flashy. Agathon repeats a mantra under his breath and walks with measured steps until he stops and turns around walking back. It looks as if there is an invisible structure he must follow, unseen patterns and limits governing his movements. Is he warding the place against someone? Maybe. As choreographies go, it doesn't look particularly difficult to learn, but you suspect there are hidden dimensions of skill and understanding involved. A lone drunken woman walks towards you, hard to say what she's doing at the park. She's a little older, white, dressed like a suburban divorcee. What's your friend doing? He's kinda hot. The woman's words are slurred by alcohol, but she seems to have decided that you are this evening's entertainment. Hey you, stop being weird and talk to me. The woman seems determined to walk past you toward Agathon. This looks like just the kind of interruption that he was worried about. Beating. Agathon is deeply immersed in his ritual, so why not use the time you have constructively? Walk up to the woman from behind, grab her by the shoulders, and sink fangs into her throat. Blood tinged with alcohol and hoariness flows into your mouth as the woman moans from the sudden pleasure of the kiss. Oh, I need to sit down. Just as you lick the wound closed, the woman collapses into the ground, swaying, trying to sit upright. Suddenly you hear a scream of rage. Startled, you turn around just in time to see Agathon running at the woman on the ground, his expression contorted with hatred. Did the woman make enough noise to interfere with the ritual? That doesn't explain why he's in such rage. Don't intervene? You step aside as Agathon leaps at the woman, sinking his fangs into her neck as she screams pitiably. Oh no, he used too much blood in the rituals and he frenzied. Oopsie daisy. I thought that we screwed something up, but yeah, that makes more sense. The woman screams quiet down as Agathon drinks more and more. Don't let him! You pull Agathon away from the woman. He struggles, but he's clearly not used to physical scuffles. Agathon looks at you wild-eyed, then suddenly snaps out of it. He stares at you in embarrassment and horror. You shouldn't have had to see that. I'm really sorry. Something triggered one of my words. We have to go now. There's no time to waste. Oh yeah, so he has wards. I see. So this is, again, I feel like he was making a word in here. Wards are basically barriers that trainers can set up and, for example, protect the place against ghouls. Agathon starts running towards his car and you do your best to follow. We left that poor woman on the floor in there, on the ground. Usually Agathon drives more carefully than most humans you know, but now something is different. He's speeding, honking at every car that gets in your way. You're driving towards the Bronx and twice Agathon almost collides with another car. He's clearly not used to driving quickly, but something is overriding his usual caution. You screech to a stop in front of the red tile apartment building. That's a really nice background. I love it. Agathon jumps out of a car and starts running, leaving you to take the keys from the ignition and close the doors. Agathon disappears up the stairs and you follow his agitated shouting. Abuela, it's me, Javi. Javi? Like Javier, I think? You get to the 5th floor landing after a run that would have left your mortal self winded to find Agathon banging on an apartment door and fiddling with his keyring. A few of the neighbors poke their heads out in the hallway, but nobody intervenes. Agathon finds the right key and slams the door open, running inside. You follow, entering what looks like the home of an old Mexican lady. There are portraits on the mantelpiece and a crucifix on the wall. The apartment smells musty with old rage and you detect a faint odor of vampiric blood. Sylvia, where are you? You come to the living room to find the body covered by a blanket in the corner of a sofa. Television is on but the sound is off. It looks like a Spanish language channel. Agathon tears at the blanket, pulling it away in panic. He reveals an old woman waking up in blurry-eyed confusion. Javi? Why are you barging in like this? Who is your friend? You're alive, Abuela! Agathon hugs the old lady and then turns to you. You'll have to introduce yourself. I'll check the words. Something triggered them and I have to see if they still work. Sylvia snuggles deeper into her blankets. This is vampire business, isn't it? Always when there is trouble, it's the vampires. You stare at her startled. Clearly the masquerade hasn't held in this household. Play down the treble. Hi, I'm Lafayette. You're his grandmother, right? He's just worried. Why is he worried about me? He should be worried about himself. All that blood drinking. He's a cleaver. He also tells his family about it all. No. This is about the girl who came to visit, I can tell. Javi was never good at keeping secrets, so much like his mother. You hear Agathon rummaging around the small apartment, almost as if he's scratching at something on the walls. He's always doing that, writing on the walls with blood, making runes. I tell him to cover them with the photos and the paintings, but he won't listen. I have to do it myself. That explains the faint smell of vampire blood in the apartment. Otherwise, how can I invite friends for tea? They ask questions if I have runes all over my walls. It doesn't look like a Christian home anymore. The girl who was here earlier, was her name Juno? Yes, that's right. A pre-name, I suppose. She was just the kind of girl Agathon used to fall for. She was a vampire too, I expect. You're not a vampire too, are you? Surprised by the suggestion, Sylvia laughs uproariously, mirth convulsing her aged frame. Oh no, please don't say things like that, I'm an old woman. Laughing hurts. Agathon returns to the living room, still agitated. She wanted to send a message. If we don't let her find the notes first, she'll hurt my abuela. He glances meaningfully at the old woman. No, she won't. She gave me a message for you, Javi. She said to think very carefully whether your clan will really protect your loved ones. Agathon stares at Sylvia, stunned and confused. She was here to tell me that? Maybe that's good. It doesn't sound like she wants to hurt you. She was a nice girl, I can tell. Oh, abuela. Lafayette, let's go. This is all we can do here. You say your goodbyes and soon you're back outside, sitting in Agathon's car. What a catastrophe. To think Juno was there, the words trigger when a vampire enters the perimeter, so Juno was there just as I was doing the ritual in the park. I'll take you to her haven. Agathon starts the car and begins to drive toward Manhattan. He appears agitated, emotions cursing under his stoic face. Your grandmother is a very spirited woman. She's all I have left of my family. We came here from Mexico City when my parents were still alive. The kindred have always haunted my family. Every generation has its own tragedies. Agathon is gripping the steering wheel harder than he should, although he's back to his usual careful driving style. Juno might still have feelings for you. That could explain why she does some of the things she does. Are you sure? I am kind of hooking him up with her. Agathon sounds genuinely confused. Maybe you're right. I could never read her, even when we were together. Agathon drops you off in front of your haven. The experience leaves you with disquieting thoughts. You met Agathon's grandmother under awkward circumstances, but he clearly loves her very, very much. You don't know enough about the world of the kindred to say whether that's normal or not. It seems to keep Agathon connected to the world in a way that feels alien for some of the other kindred you've met. Perhaps there's a lesson in that. Let's rest. A piece of paper is sticking out of your mailbox. It's a computer printout, a note and a screenshot from Google Maps. It reads, "Meet me at the indicated spot tomorrow at 10 p.m. I'll pick you up and we'll take it from there." No signature. The place marked on the map is the lookout point near Pier 1, just near the Brooklyn Bridge. You check the phone that Mia passed on to you. No new messages, no missed calls. It's all a bit fishy. But there's only one way to find out who addressed this to you. Looks like tomorrow evening has been planned out for you. I wanna do it. You go downstairs as soon as you wake up. One more glance at the phone, but no news from Mia. You take the car down to Brooklyn, park on Front Street, and approach the meeting spot cautiously. A figure of about Mia's size is standing there, dressed in an oversized jacket and looking out toward Manhattan. As you approach, you can hear her muttering something. "It is true, but I do not think it true. If I do not think it true, then it can't be true. And if it can't be true, then..." Are you the one who left the note? No one turns around. It's not Mia. Whoever it is, you have never seen her before. She looks perfectly plain and unmemorable. That might be the Mask of Thousand Faces, actually. She might be someone else obfuscating. "The ink on the paper did the message leave. The ink on the paper did your face here bring." You turn around. 3 men, all of them burly and threatening, approach you. One of them takes the lead. "So, you got the message." "I did. What now?" "Now? Now you'll come with us. The boss wants to meet you." "Torque?" "Oh, you mean Torque?" "What? You gotta be shitting me. Torque ain't the boss of jack shit. I mean Boss Callahan, you dumbass. I suggest you get a move on. We've got places to be." The voice of the woman keeps creeping into your consciousness, the litany of gibberish ever present throughout the entire conversation. The man cracks his knuckles. "Or we can do it the hard way." "Agree. Yeah, okay, I'll go with you." "Smart." They lead you down the pier and onto a motorboat. The engine starts. "Put this on." He points to a cloth sack. One of the guys is holding you down. The woman is still there, whispering to herself. Somehow you hear her voice clearly in your head. It becomes a nagging suggestion to put the sack over your head. You don't really want to do it, but your hands go through the motions all the same. It takes 15 or so minutes to reach your destination, you think. The engine dies down and you are led on shore, and then further, up an incline and through some overgrowth. 10 more minutes of walking, maybe, until a deep voice reaches your ears. "Vincent, my dear boy, why the hood over our guest's face?" "Well, boss, I thought..." No, that will not do. How many times I have to repeat myself, Vincent? You don't have to think. You have to listen and do what you're told, yes? "Yes, boss." "Well, take that ridiculous sack off their head, will you?" The hood comes off. The owner of the deep voice is a curious sight. Dressed in what can only be described as a Victorian clothing with a monocle and graying red hair. Is this Callahan? "Apologies for Vincent's unacceptable behavior. He can be a little thick sometimes. Isn't that right, Vincent?" Yeah, boss, sometimes, a little." "I believe you already know who I am." "You're the Anarch Baron." "Ain't that the truth? Douglas Callahan is my name, but you may call me boss. Douglas. You call it just Douglas, right? Douglas Callahan is my name, but you may call me boss. Everybody does, for a good reason. I've invited you here to have a friendly chat. Now let me make myself perfectly clear. I am disappointed in you. Truly disappointed, but I arranged this meeting to allow you to make amends. First though, I have to make sure you understand what your infraction was, so... Do you know why you're here? Because I wanted to meet with Torek. Ah, yes, you're not stupid. That's a nice change of pace. Torek is the reason you're here, or that little angry strumpet of his, I'm told, yes? Mia? Oh, I'd love to get my hands on her gaunt neck and wring it until it breaks. But see, I'm a statesman, and that's not the prudent thing to do. No, indeed, the prudent thing to do is tolerate both her and that blasted ebony-skinned mentor of hers. You folk call yourself Afro-American, correct? Bah! Back in my day, we knew what being American meant, and sure as hell didn't mean being black. Oh dear. Actually, you know what? This is a really cool example of how you can interpret. There's actually something in the V5 core book. A lot of people, I was going to talk about it in a different video, so this is a really nice place where I can actually insert this. There's this thing in V5 core book at the very end of it, which is called the Advice for Considerate Play. And I feel like a lot of people either didn't read it or read it very non-carefully, and they don't know exactly what is up in there. So what it says, apart from a lot of advices on how to make people comfortable at the table, one of the things that it says is that you can play as a villain, you can, as a storyteller, introduce storyteller characters, which are villains, which are evil, which can be racist, fascist, representing the very conservative old values that are very much non-applicable in the modern days. You can totally do these things. It's totally fine. And the Considerate Play appendix is just giving you tools on how to do that to make everyone comfortable. So for example, sure, you can literally make Nazis in your campaign, but make sure that players can beat them up or oppose them and stuff like that. So it's a pretty cool and well-written appendix, which I like in most parts. I think it's really needed. And Boss Callahan seems to be someone who actually really represents that, you know, old values. And there should be a lot of vampires like that in the World of Darkness if you consider the Elders, if you consider the Ancillei that were born before the 20th century, for example, or in the early 20th century. They have different values than people born nowadays. And I feel like there's a lot of place to represent them in the World of Darkness and clash them with the modern ideas for a lot of drama. So yeah, that's fun. You take that shit back. Finish with your disgusting rant. There we go. Oh, fledgling, you have no idea who you're messing with. He looks at you with rage in his eyes, and you feel insignificant and vulnerable. An irrational fear takes over you. You cannot speak up against this man again. You just can't. He's too terrifying. Of course he's old. Know that I have your full attention. I will request something from you, and you will obey me to the letter, but that comes later. First you will answer a few questions, the first of which was, who pointed you to Mia? Nobody, it was my idea. Oh, really? And what was your intention behind the meeting? I needed her help with something. Oh, come on now, you'll have to be more specific than that. I need to know exactly what it was you discussed. There we go. I just wanted to learn about the Anarchs, so I asked her about the movement. Oh, child, you should have come to me then. I am the Anarch movement in New York City, and nobody makes a secret out of it. You bet on the wrong horse, and I'm sure you'll soon learn. See, that wasn't hard now, was it? Of course, I can't be sure how much what you told me was true, and how much of it is worth about as much as yesterday night's horse shit. But I'll find out. I always do. When I do, we'll have another one of these nice talks. And maybe, just maybe, you'll avoid this upcoming unpleasant episode next time. He gives Vince a sign and the burly man starts hitting you all over. Ouch. You feel teeth, ribs and fingers break. Your foot is mangled under Vince's boots. Your shoulder dislocated, your nose wrecked. That's enough, Vincent. Leave him be. That's also a very interesting concept, because I feel like with Bloodlines we were introduced only to the good side of the Anarchs. Like, there weren't really any Anarchs there which were bad. They all represented some values which could, you know, be endearing to people. So I am very much into portraying some of the evil anarchs out there, because it has to be a balanced thing. There are villains on all of the sides, anarchs, camarilla, autarkies, whatever. So yeah, and there are even, like, historically, there are really decent people in the Sabbat. Some of them more decent than, maybe not the best, but more decent than the camarilla folks sometimes. So yeah. He snaps his fingers in front of your face a few times and checks if you can focus on his face. You can, but barely. I am a man of principle. Another night I would perhaps put you in the casket, dip it in concrete and dump it into Hudson. A favorite of mine during the roaring 20s. Oh, it's been a while. But like I mentioned before, I am nothing but prudent, and so the interests of the city's kindred must come before my own needs and wants. I will therefore let you continue your existence. Okay, Boomer? Here's what I require in return for this boon. You are forbidden to meet Torek. I will keep an eye on you, on him. If you want to place with the Anarchs, you go through me and only me. Got it? You have to understand what I made my associates to do tonight was just business. We can still work out a mutually beneficial relationship. In fact, it's either that or your final death. Time to go, Vincent. Take the boat back. Leave the fledgling here. I think they have a lot to think about. Sure thing, boss. Pleasure making your acquaintance. Callahan walks away as Vince and his band of thugs. You lie on the ground for a while longer, feeling your blood slowly putting your body back together, your hunger growing. You can hear the beast calling for sustenance, for safety, for revenge, a distant but pronounced third desire. It's not until you mend yourself enough to appear more as a mugging victim than an impossibly mangled walking cadaver that you hail a passing taxi and head back, and head back to your haven. You give the driver your address and pass out. The darkness greets you. Some time passes, you think. You feel somebody shaking you. You open your eyes. It's a driver. You think he's asking you if you're alright. His words change to a muffled shout. He goes silent. You think it tastes great as a tired, caffeine-pumped taxi driver with high cholesterol can taste. Warm blood pours down your throat and flows to your limbs, mending them. He's growing cold, but you still don't have control. No! You're still observing, not acting. Your body is not yours. The beast is in charge. Regain! That's enough. No, it's not. I said that's enough! It will never be enough. Enough! You break away from the man. He's dazed but conscious. He groggily says something about feeling tired. You leave the man in the driver's seat and let him rest in the back. The four familiar walls of your haven are a blessing. The beast inside you keeps nagging, but you have reined it in tonight. Not a small feat, given your state. You're still weak. You're still not quite mended. You need to rest. Tomorrow you will have to feed again. Tomorrow you will have to consider your next move. Callahan is not the kind of a man who quits, but tonight, you rest. Haha, that was really cool! Oh, damn. Yeah, I hope you guys liked this one episode, and I feel it's a very good time to end it, and I'm going to see you in the next one. And until then, don't get lost in the night. Goodbye.